Hey guys, Ashley here, welcome back to another video, and this time it's something a little bit different. We're starting off the new playlist of tips, tricks and tutorials, whereby I'm going to try and answer any questions or queries you guys pose to me on whether it be Twitch, YouTube or Instagram, or even by email if I know some of you all personally, and anything that I can do to help, any answers that I know, I'll be sure to put them up on this playlist, so keep an eye out for that. If you do like what you see in this video, consider giving it a like and even maybe subscribing if you want to see more, and let me know if there's anything in specific you want to know about how I work and any tips and tricks that I may be able to provide you. So without further ado, we'll just jump straight into my brush presets. Brush area here. Now I'm running Photoshop CS6, so different versions or variations of Photoshop may differ in terms of what they have, what brushes they have as standard, but this is what I'm running, and in my opinion there is everything you need here to get started on any sort of render that you're using, and all it really takes is slight fine-tuning of a lot of these brushes to get something that's really quite useful for any type of rendering. And obviously for me it's automotive design, and that's all I did. I experimented with what was here, realised what it was that I needed, and then fine-tuned. So obviously for the longest time I was using the feathered brush and the hard brush. However, with these you do find that there is quite a fair amount of jitter due to the spacing that goes on. These are set to about 25% spacing, which is great for, I guess, performance and responsiveness when it comes to your strokes. However, in terms of quality of lines, it really isn't that great. And when it comes to be fair, it's not that bad on these, but sometimes depending on the colour that you use, if I use a slightly lighter colour here, you can see there, you can see the jitter throughout that, and it can be a real pain in the arse to kind of get around that, having to layer up over and over again. So the first thing I did was create a brush that eradicated that spacing issue, reducing this down to 10%. There's no other changes to the very basic brush other than the spacing down to 10%. The sweet spot in my opinion is definitely between 10 and 12%, maybe 14 if you want to push it a little bit more. It all depends on what your computer can handle, because obviously the lower the spacing, the more intense it is on the actual kind of the computer itself. So those are the sweet spots. The next variation of that I did was, where are we? Let's go back out to here. Was this brush. You'll see now the oval shape rather than the straight circular. Now there is quite a fair bit of spacing going on there, but that's because the brush is quite large. I like to work with this one for kind of fine details on edges to keep things sharp and crisp, maybe the window areas, the lightings, and the oval shape really helps me get into certain angles and corners. And like you see that you have to really zoom in to see that spacing, so it never really becomes an issue on the larger scale. But if I show you here, the jitter and the delay can be a fair bit when you go larger, so that's why the spacing is important to kind of keep control of. The next variation again of the feathered brush is, I'll go back quickly and show you the setup. So again, no changes to the second hard brush other than a negative 27 degree angle and a 52% roundness with a 9% spacing. Like I said, perfect for the tight angles. The next one is the feathered version, slightly tighter, minus 34 and a 40% roundness with a 4% spacing. Again, just for that real crisp lines there, and this brush really makes it easy to kind of blend these two surfaces together. So if I was creating that there, you get a slight overlap, but you don't get the disruption in all of those, and especially if you go lighter, they just overlap quite nicely and you can't really see the gap, the jitter and gapping that goes on. So that's what I like to work with as those. The next brush I use is only used for my paints. If you follow my Instagram, you'll know my digital illustrations of motorsport. You can see those on my website at ashleynialldesign.com, link in the description down below. But you'll see that here you can clearly see a texture throughout this, and this was implemented primarily so my digital illustrations will have that realistic paint texture to them. Now my work is printed on watercolour paper, so that has texture already, but this just kind of enhances that and takes away the digital look of it. Now I wouldn't use this for anything other than my paintings. I don't really find a need for that, but it is definitely useful. The change that I've made to that, if I pull that up here, this was a variation of number 17, I do believe. I think it's one of these three here. No change there. Spacing down to 8%. Transfer is on, which is just the pen pressure automatically, so you don't have to have this button up here activated all the time. And then texture, this was a standard texture that I haven't adjusted at all, that you can find in the menu drop down there, and those are the levels for its intensity to gain that sort of effect. Moving on to something which is more of a creature comfort and a quality of life feature. I've always struggled with rims in terms of design, rendering and sketching. They've always thrown my work off, and being probably the weakest attribute of my skill set, in all honesty. So I tried to bypass that with presets of wheels. Now these can be really useful, not only for quality of work, but for just sheer speed itself. And these are just taken from images off of the internet and turned into brushes. Extremely useful, can really deliver a high quality finish to your work. And I definitely wouldn't say this is cheating at all. You know, it's definitely probably a cop out ever so slightly, but you know, why compromise on the quality of your work when you can make your life easier? It's all about working smarter and not harder. Hence that preset. The next is a very similar process. I here created a outline of a bucket seat, and then a simple photograph bucket seat, which I then apply a filter to when rendering, just to take the kind of the realistic edge off of it. And that way, that always helps with the interiors. Again, an area that can sometimes fall short on some of my work, and hopefully that will kind of sort that out. And last but not least are just two textures that I use more than anything: forged carbon and carbon weave. I'll probably be adding leather effect and wood grain to this lineup as well for various features. I guess if I was doing interiors or product design, again, just for speed more than anything else, rather than having to copy and paste it up from the internet every single time. But that's it. Like I said, nothing too complex, just ultimately fine-tuning and tweaking the brushes that are already available. As I said earlier in the video, I highly recommend, if you are a beginner to Photoshop, to get used to what's available to you, because it's all well and good copying mine and other people's brush presets. However, these are more specific to ourselves, at least the kind of the actual paint brushes themselves, not so much the wheels and the textures, but it's what we want in terms of our style. And as you'll develop and you'll grow, your own unique style will kind of come to the forefront, and you'll realise what it is that you need from a paintbrush. And I encourage you then to kind of experiment with the presets on your own. But hopefully what you've seen here can be of use for you. If you need anything recapping, if you want to know anything else, don't hesitate to ask. Like I said, in the comment section down below. On Twitch, you'll see me there. I'm popping up as regularly as possible, mostly between 11 and 4 p.m, 11 a.m, 4 p.m, Greenwich Mean Time, and sometimes on the evenings as well. So I'm always available there for questions, or on Instagram, Ashley_Niall. Just hit me up wherever you need, and I hope it helps. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to doing more tips, tricks and tutorial videos for you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care everyone. See you later. Bye.